Hey everyone, welcome to the Motivated to Inspire podcast, and I'm Sjamaf, your host. In today's episode, we have a very special guest, a friend of mine I connected with almost 2 years ago now, and this is one episode that I've been looking forward to for some time. But before we get started, remember to hit the subscribe and notification buttons if you're on YouTube, and to follow us on all our other social media platforms. That way you'll be notified whenever we release new content. All right, so to get us started, our guest is a young lady. She's a leadership coach, media personality, a great people person, I might add. She's the founder of Moments with the Kween community. It's a community of young people inspiring each other to pursue their God-given destinies and doing some amazing things while making a difference in other people's lives. So it's someone I've followed for quite some time now, and they're really doing great stuff in Nigeria. So she hosts the Moments with the Kween podcast and a radio show on a weekly basis. She's a TV presenter, newscaster, content creator, but above all, she's a child of God. So please welcome all the way from Oja, Nigeria, KweenSisan Oguoyibo, the Queen of the Airwaves. Welcome, Kween.
Thank you so much, Cedar. I think drums could roll after this very beautiful introduction. I am very honored. Thank you so much for having me. Very honored.
It's good to have you. And like we were discussing earlier, I think it's been quite some time, almost 2 years from now. And I admire the work that you are doing with young people in your part of the world, and it's really commendable. But to get us started, maybe just tell us about yourself.
Thank you.
Your background.
My background, I'm a pretty very normal girl. Born into a family, like a lot of ladies can probably relate to. Growing up as a child, I didn't really perceive anything extraordinary about myself. I always have known that I believe in making a difference. I've always had this close inner drawing. There's just been something pulling me on my inside to purpose, even as a little child. I did not exactly have the ideal parenting, in quotes, but God has been very faithful. I was this child that was kind of born out of wedlock, but my parents eventually married, but they were not exactly prepared when they had me. So, I had a background that a lot of persons could probably use to share a lot of persons could use the kind of background I had to tell stories that are very pitiable in quotes. But I don't know, I'm probably not hinging so much on my background right now because I never really gave it so much attention growing up, really. I have great parents. Yeah, I have great parents. I actually have two parents, the one who birthed and the one who raised me. So I have great parents. Yes, Sija, I'm a very normal girl. Yes, really normal. I had the challenges that anybody listening right now can totally relate to it. There was nothing extraordinary, a very humble background. It was not like I had one huge amount of money somewhere or I saw my parents doing nothing of such. I was just one normal girl from a town called Warri, Delta State in Nigeria. You might want to Google that if you do not know that place. So, yeah.
Okay. That's good. It's good to know. Mm-hmm. All right, that's good. So what's motivated you to start your community, Moments with the Kween?
Okay, for the Moments with the Kween community, Sija, well, let me to start it. Okay, I think I would just kick off with saying that now I know, I didn't know then though, but now I realize that there is a path for every man, PATH. And once you're on that path, everything that journey has, including the vehicle for the journey, the people you need for the journey, just naturally gravitates to you once you are on the right path. All right. So I think that's what really happened for me. I have always been passionate about people, and I believe that I can make the world a better place. I have never stopped, I've always looked for ways to, like I said, my background is a very humble one, really very normal, But however, something happened to me, and I don't want this to sound religious because it's not religious. It's my experience, and I would like to say it was my encounter with God, my encounter with Jesus, getting to know Jesus better, and understanding that I was not just a pretty face, that I had, and I could be a lot more. I could be a part of something bigger. I told you there's always been something on my inside that just keeps pulling me, that just keeps letting me know that I'm made for more. So that was what inspired me to begin the Moments with the Queen podcast. When the Moments with the Queen podcast was to start, I just wanted to do a devotional, which I now do. I don't know, I share sometimes, you see the good morning messages, which I now host. That was what I had in mind initially. I just wanted something where I felt like a lot of things are happening in the world at the moment. So many persons are lost. And I can relate to that because I was there. I was at a place where I was lost. I thought it's quite slippery because sometimes you feel like you have it all under control. There are even some persons who have a personality that masquerades the fact that they are lost. And a lot of persons feel like they have it under control. But in the real sense of it, they do not. So that was where I was at. And I saw how God helped me, how he started healing me, how he started helping me, how he has been leading me, and how I started making sense of my life. So I said, okay, fine. It wasn't just going to end with me. I didn't just want this to just be about me. I have told God, and it's something that God knows, I like sharing. I like to say I'm an evangelist, okay? So whenever God does something with me, I like sharing. I always like sharing. So that was what inspired me to want to start the good morning messages. That's how it came. It was supposed to be good morning messages, 5-minute messages that people can just listen to and get edified. I don't want you to think that there's a reason why you should lose your life. I don't want you to think that there's a reason why there's nothing in it for you on this earth. It wasn't like I used to have thoughts like that, but hey, I know better. I don't even know how to explain it. So that was how it started. Remember, I told you that a path, PATH, is important. So because I had encountered God, I was on that path. So it started with me trying to wrap my head around it. So it wasn't like I did not figure it out immediately. Even now, I'm still unraveling the whole, this vision. Yeah. Okay. So I figured that, okay, good morning messages. I started a WhatsApp group. I was like, okay, perhaps it wouldn't just be me. Let me get a couple of other persons involved in this. Let's have a good morning message. I share today, you share tomorrow. I was still very young, so I just wanted to do what I could. And yeah, a lot of persons, so the people who I put in the group, the energy was different from what I was sensing in my spirit, so I said, okay, fine, let me just pause this for a while since it wasn't working. And then I came across a man whose name is John Obidi. John Obidi started talking about podcasting and how important it was to start a podcast. And I thought about it and I said, a podcast, good morning messages, same audio, and then I was already working in a radio station, but you do not need to work in a radio station to start a podcast. And it's really not just about starting a podcast. It's about the message that you have to share to the world. I knew I had a message, and it was how God had redeemed me, how he has been renewing my mind, how he's been expanding my capacity, the things that I found myself doing even at the young age, that I was then. So I said, podcast. So I started researching, and that was what led me to kick off the Moments with the Queen podcast. And of course, it's about self-leadership. It's about capacity building. It's about you being able to see yourself, not just as the best version of yourself, but as Jesus. Because when you see yourself as, if you want to see yourself as, if you believe that, I believe I want to be like Jesus, because if I want to be the best version of myself, I could still be limited. So where my eyes is fixed on is actually Jesus Christ, exactly. So that was how I started the Moments with the Queen podcast. And then I felt like it would be hard. Yes, that's how it came. It came like a thought. It would be hard for me to get this same set of persons listening this week to listen next week. I wouldn't want to. Okay, so for example, I put the link out on social media platforms. Maybe the person who was online last week is online this week. It will be difficult for them to keep up. And I wanted to build a community. I wanted something that people can go back to listen to. If you need the link for the Moments with the Queen podcast, I wanted something that. So I spoke to a lady. Her name is Joy Enegalu. Joy, and Negalu. These people were just strategic people got placed in my life at that time because I was still trying to figure it out. In case there's somebody listening and you think you're going to get it all at once, not exactly, So yes, that's what happened. I spoke to Joy Negalu, and Joy Negalu said, well, one of the things with podcasting is that if you really look at sustaining your podcast, you should also think about building a community. And that's how I started. It started with 2 or 3 people. Yeah, that was how it started. I put it out, and I said, okay, so we're going to have a community on WhatsApp. Now we're on Telegram because we expanded, but we started on WhatsApp. Now we're on Telegram, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, Yeah. So yes. So, but initially it started with, we just started with, like I said, 2 or 3 persons. So I said, okay, so if people listen to the very first episode of the podcast, of the podcast and were excited about it, they wanted to follow it. So I said, okay, if you want to know when I release subsequent episodes, join the community. I will be posting stuff there. We can discuss it so we can get to digest it. And CJ, that's how it started for me. That's how it started, and that's how it has been on from then to now.
Yeah, that's amazing. I forgot to ask, how long ago was this, by the way, when you first started?
Okay, I think it was the year 2019, January 2019 was when I started the Moments with the Kween podcast. Yes. So I started building the community. In January 2019, and we've been moving forward. We clocked to that was 30th of January 2021.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that time frame with the work that you've done. I think it's really been an amazing journey with all the growth that I've seen. Saying you started on WhatsApp, then it exploded to Telegram, on Facebook.
WhatsApp.
For those listening out there, I'm actually part of those platforms and groups. I follow a lot the work that she does, and I think the most encouraging thing for me really is your servant heart. Like to actually lead as God would require us to lead, not just like our own desires, but His will in our lives to impact the lives of other people. Mm-hmm. So kudos for that.
True.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Peter.
Amen. I can imagine. I think for some people that maybe don't have an experience of what Africa is like, the hardships that are involved, all the challenges that people encounter when they're trying to do something meaningful. I don't know if you could take us through some of those and how you managed to conquer them. Like, I know like here in Zimbabwe, for example, we have all sorts of challenges, whether it's no power, like we were talking about much earlier, and also even maybe just economic hardships, whereas in some other parts of the world, things could be accomplished in a much easier fashion. So just curious about take us through that as well.
Okay. For challenges, there's something that has worked for me for a very long time. And if you observed, even when you told me about my background, when you asked to talk about my background, it wasn't like I do not have stories to tell in that regard. Mm-hmm. I do. It just so happens that if I'm not telling a story that is leading to my next level, or it's taking me into the next direction, or it's inspiring me or motivating me, I do not hinge on it. I don't focus on it. All right. So I'm someone who I ask questions like, how can it work? So for example, I'm going to have a live recording with CJ, and I know that this is going to bless lives. I have thought about it ahead. In Africa, we have issues like power outage, which is one of the reasons why I try my best to see how can I get an alternative source of power. So this is not a limitation. Yeah. And then if for any reason where I am, we're going to be having power failure, how can I work somewhere whereby at least it will be reduced to the barest minimum? Like I'm not going to have any reason to have power failure in this particular time while we have this recording. So this is how I see challenges, right? For every challenge I have, I believe it is an opportunity for me to expand my capacity. And Africa is a beautiful ground for me to be in, because I believe that my ability to thrive here means I can thrive anywhere in the world.
Exactly.
Not to downplay the fact that challenges are not everywhere. Actually, challenges are everywhere. It changes. You go into another continent and you find out that what they are experiencing might be a bit different from what you are experiencing. But if you fail in the days of adversity, then there was nothing much to you in the first place. Before I started CJA, I knew what I started seeing. All right. And somebody said something that when you get a God-given vision, you don't do the vision does you.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, there is a way God would impregnate you with something that you cannot see anything else, because you no longer rely on your own capacity. You also hinge on God. If you're listening and perhaps you're not a believer, or you don't believe in God and you feel like you just want to understand this thing from the realm of thought, all you have to do is just the positive. I would like to tell you that what I'm talking about is not positivity. I'm not even giving you motivation. I'm not giving you inspiration. If it was not God, I would have stopped this a long time ago, because they're having so many reasons. Now, let me tell you something beautiful about this organization. The people who are running this organization currently, because it's Moment to the Queen community, however, people who partner with the community, many of them are even taking it almost a lot more seriously than I even am. I don't know how to explain it. We have people who are content creators on that platform. We have people who every week we have prayers. The team members meet every week to have prayers. There's sometimes I am not even present for prayers to hold, but there are people who are there to take it up. Yeah. Somebody is supposed to hold prayers. The person has not even called to say, oh, this is what happened. We're like, oh, this person is not available, most likely because somebody else has taken it.
Yeah.
It's not normal. You cannot just see people giving their lives for causes that on the norm, it's not theirs. You begin to ask, okay, what is in it for them?
Yeah.
All right. So for me, the challenges in Africa, if I want to mention them, they are innumerable. There are a lot of challenges, ranging from the fact that some people are willing today, sometimes they are not willing. Ranging from the fact that even you yourself might feel like there are times you don't feel all that. That's the word. You really don't feel all that. But you know that there's something about this whole thing that is more about commitment, it's more about covenant, it's more about what you see.
Yeah.
And I tell you, CJ, my eyes are not just on this earth. When it comes to the Moment to the Queen community, my eyes have never been fixed on this earth. I tell people who listen to me that I believe that this particular recording will bless lives. When you put it out on YouTube, it will still bless lives even after I have left this earth.
Amen.
And because I see down to times when I'm no longer alive, this is one of the reasons why I do the things that I do. It's not just about now. While now is important and I put in my effort to do that, but I hinge on God's ability, because I know that God is eternal. Everything that God does has eternal benefits. And when I mean eternal, I'm talking about not just when people think about eternity, they're thinking about hell and heaven. I'm thinking about a time where time no longer exists. So whenever you hear me say eternal, just think about the place where there's nothing like time. All right. So that's it for me, Sija. I never focus on it.
Amen. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I like that perspective, in that you don't focus on the problem itself, but you're already asking the question, what can I do about it? I think that's how most successful people they don't allow their obstacles to become limitations, they say, but they just find a way around it. Because there's that understanding that the mission of what we're trying to accomplish is the most important thing at the end of the day. So thank you for that insight as well. So yeah, I'm really amazed.
Thank you.
Like, without just saying that it's only been 2 years that you've been doing this, and so I'm wondering what's in your sights the next couple of years. Well, what are you looking to do in the next couple of years? Maybe next 3 to 5 years with the community.
All right. So far we are expanding. Actually, next month we are going to be having a training on purpose and self-discovery. Now, most of the times we organize sessions online, and they are open sessions where we just get to do a call out, and people come in, attend the sessions, and then they go for free. But for the very first time, we're going to be getting 20%, and we're going to be offering them what we intend to do is get 20 persons and pour into this 20 persons what in every organization there is a seed. We want to plant this seed of purpose and self-discovery in 20 persons and trust that these persons would also expand to reach out to the world, because one of our visions is that we are already on fire as God has set us on fire. So we are setting the world on fire. We want the world to burn for God and for good. All right. Anyone who listens to the trailer on the Moment with the Queen podcast would hear me say these words. All right. So for the next 3 to 5 years, we are looking at full-time expansion. We're supposed to see how we could reach out to people in Kenya, for an outreach, because that's what we're looking at. We want this message of love. We want this message of capacity development, this message of faith. We want this message of the ability for people to understand that they can be anything, that not just that they want to be, but that God has ordained them to be. Because if you're just about being what you want to be, it becomes selfish. It becomes really selfish. In fact, there's some times whereby you get depressed. It's because you're trying to do things in your own strength.
Yeah.
I tell you, dear friend, it's a lot more beautiful, when you're hinging on to God's ability and not yours. So to answer you directly, Sija, we're looking at spreading to other African countries. So in case there are persons in Zimbabwe or persons in Namibia, persons in Kenya who will be listening to this, who would want to be a part of the community, not just the community, there's a team. We have team members. I talk about people who pray every week. The team is the foundation of this community. We need people who would want to be the team. The people in the team are the ones that feel the heat the most, because they are the ones most closest to me. Other persons who are just part of the community just get to see when we put out stuff, probably put out inspiring stuff, or we just want to have classes. They just come to get what's necessary for them. But there are persons who are close in the circle, who know when this is how it's moving, or this is how it's going, and all that. So people who probably are willing to volunteer to be a part of our team, that's what I use this opportunity to make a call out to them.
Wow, that's wonderful stuff.
Yes.
And it then now reminds me of how we actually connected. It was through John Maxwell's blog, and now I can see the similarities. Yes. Because I think with John Maxwell, I think that's part of their mission to really spread the word through evangelism, Equip, the organization called Equip. So I'm saying
of course,
model that you're modeling after as well. Yeah. So yeah, that's wonderful stuff. And
true that.
We'll always catch up again to do a follow-up on the progress of that particular work. Maybe just a final thing, where can people find you online? Should they want to find out more about what you guys
I cannot hear you clearly at all.
Oh, the sound is a bit off. Okay. I was just saying, where can people connect with you online?
Okay.
Want to follow your work and what you're doing?
Yeah. All right. On anyone who wants to follow me, it's KweenSisan, KweenSisan. You'll find me as KweenSisan, KweenSisan, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. I'm also active on Twitter, but you should find me on Instagram. Oh yes, I'm on Twitter, but not so active. But you find me there. I follow things that happen there. If you tag me to a post or you follow me, I will see the notifications. And of course, I also I encourage people to join our Telegram group. If you go to Moments with the Queen community on Instagram, MWTK community, if you check the community on Instagram, most of the things that I put out there, you can also be a part of it. You can join the Telegram community as well and be a part of it. We also have a community on radio, because we have a lot of persons who listen on the radio. A lot of persons listen on the radio, and we are also getting to put the Moments with the Queen show on television as well. Okay. And also, I encourage people, perhaps someone who is listening, to also Google the podcast. You can listen to any of the podcasts, especially if you are being intentional about being self-led. you want to be that person that wants to lead. And I tell people, when I tell you to be self-led, I don't exactly describe you exalting self. You're actually led by the Holy Spirit, but people cannot see that it is the Holy Spirit who is leading you. So you just make them seem like this person makes all the right decisions. I get it a lot of times. Siga has come to say, oh, this thing you're doing, well done. And many times I did not intend to do them. I just got the leading of God and I just followed it. And, it came off like, and a lot of people applaud because that's what they can see. But I'm telling you something that has worked for me. So you might want to Google Moments with the Queen. But Kween is spelled Kween. So Moments with the Queen podcast. You can catch me there as well.
Sure. Thank you once again, Kween. I really appreciate your time. I know you're someone who's very busy and occupied, but I'm sure those that have been listening in, they've been blessed in one way or another. So I'll make sure you'll find the links below from wherever you're connecting to find out, follow the work that Moments with the Queen is doing. So I want to thank you once again, and I wish you all the best in the future projects that you guys have.
I hope you have exhausted your questions though. Yes. I hope you've exhausted your questions. If there's anything else you would want to, and I think just to add, if we have people who are perhaps following you on YouTube who have questions that they want to ask me personally, because I always like to reach out to persons who are listening. I might not be able to answer all, but if actually you get a couple of questions that would need answers, you might want to send them across to me, or maybe get me to come on your YouTube platform somehow. So I would just drop 1 or 2 notes as much as I can, or I could also give you a video, just something, so that persons who have questions in their hearts, that want to reach out to us, just a means or a medium or a platform for us to also give that feedback back to them. So we're sure that people have been able to tangibly hold on to what they have heard. Yes,
Sure, that's okay. I'll be sure to keep that in mind. Thank you once again. May God bless you. Bless the work of your hands.
Okay.
And, we'll catch up soon.
Amen.
So take care.
Amen.
Thanks again.
Good.
That's
Bye.